Hi, this is Paula from CHNE. Today we're doing our first panel discussion on municipal affairs. We'll be talking with Inverness County CAO Keith MacDonald, with Councillor Alfred Poirier for Cheticamp, Pleasant Bay and Mid-Cove, and with Councillor Laurie Cranton for Margaree and St. Joseph. We'll be discussing the latest council meeting from May 7th.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hello.
how you doing, Paula?
Hello, bonjour.
I wanted to talk about the latest council meeting that happened last week. It was May 7th, right? So we're gonna concentrate on what was spoken at the council meeting that's for this area, so District 1 and District 2. But if there are any bigger updates to give, it's fine. So I wanted to start with the Municipal Pandemic Response update. I guess, Keith, could you tell me more about that?
Certainly, municipal staff continue to work on a number of initiatives to help support the community at this time. Of particular interest would be, and it's already been profiled in the media, the municipal staff supporting the Schools Plus program. So to date, we've been able to deliver 3 times to the individuals that participate in that program, working with the Education Center and as well as Straight Area Transit to assist in the delivery of the food hampers. Those are dried good material. It's not prepared food, but basically it does help a number of families throughout the municipality at this time. So that's one endeavor. Staff are also starting to put together community connection meetings, basically bringing the various groups that are in communities that are working to help their fellow community members around different issues, assisting them in whatever way possible. So we've had a number of those meetings for the community of Chéticamp, and the councillors participated in those. I've heard they've gone very well, so he might be able to add to that. But again, we're hoping to replicate that in all the various communities throughout the municipality. Chéticamp had already had a number of groups that were looking to get together, so we've been basically using that as a test group. And now that we've got things moved away, we can start rolling those out into other communities.
Could you tell me more about that, Alfred?
Yeah, yes, Paula. Yeah, about the group, the community group, I think it's all started, with Community Matters and also with the staff at the municipality, Donna and Charlotte. And we had 2 meetings. And the first meeting, I think we were about 13 or 14, and we had all the sectors pretty well all covered. We have social services. We had the RCMP. We had any group, the Kingsmen, and any group that were involved one way or the other before COVID-19. They were all in there, and it started very, very good, and it's a continuing venture that we are doing. First of all, the Conseil des Arts came up with a program for the seniors, and I think it's going to be up and running till the end of the month. And then from there, Chester News with the Kingsmen and different organizations are going to be moving in with the Meals on Wheels, like we had before with the Foyer Pierre Fizette. They've been gathering money. They've been operating or cooking from the Centre de la Micarame in Saint-Joseph-du-Moine. And I think from what I know, they have a cook, and it's going to be the same kind of meal that they had before for the Meals on Wheels. Also, what they would like to do is have about 30 residents at this time, and get it going and see how it goes, and it is very good opportunity for the volunteers to get involved with the organization and with the seniors.
Can you tell me how Meals on Wheels works?
Well, this was the system we started not way back, but with the Foyer Perfisette. They were cooking 20 or 25 meals, I don't know exactly, and they were delivered to seniors across the Cheticamp area and St. Joseph de Moines, I think. And then what was happening, let's say I'm a volunteer, I would go, and at 12 o'clock I would go and pick up 2-3 meals and deliver them to Plateau or Petit Tang, and that's how it was all, the way it was operated. But when the COVID-19 came in, the problem was that they didn't want too much traffic, from the outside coming in at the foyer, due to the fact, that they wanted to have pretty well the building and the staff and the residents, sealed in so that the virus wouldn't go in, and they did a super job, and that's how it all started, and that's how the changeover came around, with the virus.
How can somebody sign up to the program?
As far as this, I think mostly it's all home care, and all the professional close to the residents that know, that they are in need. Unfortunately, up till, when the Foyer Perfisette, and they could only provide so many meals because they had to provide meals for the hospital and the foyer. So it was very hard, pretty well hard to get to everybody. So they had a waiting list. So it is something that is very helpful, and especially if you're single or, husband and wife, and, you have 2-3 meals, you pay $5, which is a very good, and you have a very good meal. So it's good, and it's something that has to be kept. And the way I see it, the volunteers and all the people involved are going to get through with it.
Laurie, could you tell me more about how the pandemic response is functioning in District 2?
Yeah, a couple of things we've done. I hate to say this, or knock on wood, but we've been very fortunate through the whole county by some of the action we've taken. I don't think we've had any fatalities that I'm aware of. We've had both Alfred and I sit on the board of directors of the homes, and we have 3 in the area, and we haven't had any intrusion of the virus in those homes as well, which I think is excellent. They were closed down really early. Our communities are mostly rural, and people communicate, I think, really well within those rural areas. And for example, my wife and I'll give the credit to my wife, I guess, but we set up a Facebook site right going off that was called Neighbours Helping Neighbours, and it had a few other words added to it and a nice heading on it. And we've got 300 plus people using that on a daily basis. Say someone needs a prescription picked up at a drugstore, and someone else might be going right by there or going there. They'll pick it up, bring it to them, and sit it on their doorstep. They open the door and they get it. There's no, especially for seniors and people that shouldn't be going out near those environments that are more vulnerable. That's worked really well. And I think our county did a lot of work, municipality early on, and through Keith and staff, and arranging how we do our business. And it's all come together. If it was to happen again, which we all hope we never have to go through this again in our lifetimes anyway, but we're much better established now than we were 2 years ago. And with our numbers, we were able to do that a lot easier than some of the big cities would be. But Nova Scotia in general is doing relatively well.
I wanted to ask in Chéticamp, so Alfred, a program kind of like that with Neighbours Helping Neighbours. Do we have something similar in the area?
Well, yes, I would say the group that we are within the 13 and group that we met through with the county's help, we have pretty well we were well connected with Lackaby, and Lackaby has been a very good asset with this virus going around, and the serving the people, and still being in existence after the virus was confirmed, and it was basically coming into our communities if we didn't work our cards the way we did. So we have Lackaby plus a lot of, like we have the Kingsmen, the Conseil des Arts, we have the senior homes, which are doing a fabulous job, and the hospital is there, and serving, and plus in case we do get some viruses. So virus. So my thing is that I think the whole community and I think the whole county came as a group, and basically what we are doing is trying to work together and put things together so that sometimes, each community and each councillor has pretty well their own ways of doing good things. And I think we had a good group here. And of course, Councillor Cranton and Keith as the CAO of the county spread out his wings all across. And so the counties, the communities were well looked after, especially in situation that we were.
So
we've actually replicated what they've, as Laurie attested to, that Neighbours helping Neighbours. So municipal staff have stepped up to replicate that effort in 14 other communities. So again, that's all online based. Groups that can support each other and assist each other with their needs. So we've had a really good response, and we have one particular staff person who's assisting them and connecting with those groups on a daily basis.
So what's to come for this response in the municipality? Are any other projects being developed?
One of the biggest challenges right now is certainly our broadband issues, either lack of or the amount of service. So all councillors have heard that. As a municipal council, we've discussed that a number of times. Right now, we're asking residents that have these issues to approach directly the provincial government to talk to them about their struggles. The province of Nova Scotia, through Develop Nova Scotia, has a significant program that's been underway for some time now to help spread broadband capacity throughout the province. So we understand that people are getting very frustrated about that matter. So as a municipal unit, we're hoping to work with citizens to get that word further along to the individuals that are responsible for the delivery of this program.
And if I could just add to what Keith said there, along with that is our cellular services as well, as broadband are very limited in some areas. In fact, the area I live in right here, it doesn't exist. And there's a number of areas throughout the municipality. And in times like this, you really see how much you need to rely on those systems and services to be able to manage all these things, especially these new things we have to manage, and communication between residents and government, and between families and residents and seniors, cell service, and we began having all our meetings using Zoom like we are here today. But there's been times when I've been on my computer here and it just cuts out because I've lost service at certain times of the day when everybody's using it. And right now, everybody's using the system most of the time. So sorry about that. We need to work, like he said, for the future, so that we don't run into those issues at any time, especially during emergencies.
And Paula, I would like to add to Mr. Councillor Cranton too, is that especially the self-service, in some, if area in Cheticamp, you know, and they might have poor service, but especially in the Pleasant Bay area and, you know, in the park. And I think it's something that is very, you know, it's a necessity right now, because due to the fact we've seen what's been happening the last 2-3 months, plus all the reasons that we've been given all along, you know, the councillor on the north side of the county. So I think it's a very good, it would be a very good asset to have. And it's, like I said, it's needed, that's for sure.
So you're saying really as the one who could solve this is the province?
Well, they do have a program they're delivering. The first round, they announced 2 communities that will be getting some upgraded services, and that's Inverness and Cheticamp. The second round is open right now. There's various service providers will be submitting proposals to the province. We've reached out to the service providers to make them aware that the residents of the municipality would like them to tackle the gap areas throughout the municipality. But as a municipal unit, we can only do so much, and people that are struggling and having challenges with their service, we need them to or don't have service, we need them to be more vocal in a strategic way about those issues they're experiencing. And they were already experiencing them, and that's an issue unto itself. But right now we're in a state of emergency here in the province of Nova Scotia. There's many services moving to online. There's many communications efforts, even on the pandemic, that are driven through social media by the province. And we do have a significant amount of our population that either doesn't have service or not to a standard that allows them to bring education into their home or communicate to their loved ones. So it just adds to the challenges they're experiencing.
I wanted to move on to the recommendations that came from the Committee of the Whole. Can we talk about food security to start? So what was said at the council meeting regarding food security?
Well, that came up as an issue very early days, and anyone who's following the media around this, food security keeps coming up. There's been some major food handling facilities and meat processing plants that have been severely impacted by COVID-19, and that's basically causing real challenges with the food distribution systems and distribution models. So as council, everyone's been concerned about that, and council got to hear directly from the Cape Breton Food Hub about some of the things they're doing to address those challenges. But as a council, they've also supported staff to advance a proposal to our neighboring municipalities to approach the federal government and the provincial partners to potentially do a food security plan for the municipality, and or hopefully we have some of our neighboring municipalities participate and expand that a bit. But the goal is to really look at these existing challenges and plan on how we can grow more food for our residents here locally.
I'm sorry. I might add, Paula, you know, if we look at it, and then let's say in the near future, and we don't know what's going to be, what we're going to have to meet in the next 2 or 3 months up to the fall. Let's say we do have a problem with, like for example, the meat plant in Alberta, or all the, you know, I think it's a time for us as a council, and as residents of Cape Breton Island or anywhere, I think it's a time to really look at ourselves and say, look, it's time for us to try to look and try to be more, not aggressive, but be trying to be able to be ready for such occasions or bad times that we can support ourselves one way or the other, because I think this is a wake-up call overall, not only for health-wise, but a combination of everything, I would say.
And just if I could add to that, on this program, which was existing before the pandemic, but the pandemic, like the communication we talked about, has brought it front and center, and some of the issues around food. And basically, you can actually, a farmer can have their food picked up and delivered and separated, so they get paid for their food through the food hub. It again can be delivered to people within the area that want some of this nice fresh food. It's fresh meat, fresh vegetables. They can put a weekly order in and either go to a pickup spot to pick up their order once a week, or even have it delivered. So you're getting the fresh product right on your kitchen table, and it's allowing the farmer and the consumer to both benefit.
Is that organic food?
Some of it would be, and some do produce organic food, I think, Keith. Am I correct there? It's not guaranteed organic by any means, so I think, but there are some that would be able to say they have some organic food there. I'll let Keith talk on that if he wants.
Yeah, that's correct. They wouldn't be certified organic, but speaking with the farmer, you'll understand their methods, and for the most part, you would consider it an organic process for sure.
Right, because sometimes with organic food, there's a concern that it's more expensive than non-organic food. So that's something to take into consideration too.
Yeah, it would certainly not be met.
No, and I think from the report we just had from the food hub, they're selling pretty well everything they take in from the farm. So there doesn't seem to be a big problem getting rid of the food supply that they collect. People are looking for that and looking for that fresh food, and they're looking to support their neighbors. So I think that all works well on both sides. At this point in time, we haven't heard of any real major complaints about it.
Yes, Keith, what were you going to say?
Oh, the councillor covered that off. So.
Okay. I wanted to move on to heavy garbage pickup. Are there any updates on that?
Well, council made the motion that we will hold off until the pandemic's over. Staff are looking at planning the heavy garbage pickup. So once the province announces when the state of emergency is over, we'll be looking at trying to advance a plan to do that safely. It's quite a bit of work. It's a significant coverage area. If you look all the way from Cove to the Causeway, that's a large territory. So it's a big undertaking. Some other municipal units do contract out that service. We don't at this time, but we're investigating that for this particular instance because we need to protect the well-being of our staff and limit exposure, because the majority of that team also are working on projects such as repairing water main leaks, and those type of things become very urgent, and we want to make sure that we protect the health of our staff so they're available for those type of emergency situations. And we know it's frustrating for many people. They want to clean up their yards, and they're doing their spring cleaning. So we're just hoping for a little bit more patience over the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll get something planned in the near future.
Okay, anything council would like to add regarding
yeah, sorry. One thing, and when we look at the Acadian communities, and I have some of the Acadian communities in my district, Councillor Deputy Warden Poirier would have many more in his, but we did have some issues recently of the demand for lobster and the lobster fishery. They're going to the water tomorrow to start the fishery, I believe.
Well, there's an announcement today by the federal government we're waiting to hear, so we should have an update later today.
Maybe that's going to change, but I know there was a lot of concerns because of the virus and the plant workers and how they were going to have people work safely. at the proper distances and all that kind of stuff. The crab boats are out fishing crab, and it's a huge industry in this part of the country. And but at the same time, you know, the markets are really poor for some of it, and the virus hasn't helped that. So there's some fishermen and fisher ladies that are struggling to deal with it this year and having a hard time. There's some that are fairly well off and been at it a long time, but there's other people that have probably $1 million lines of credit or loans that they're responsible for, and if they don't get a normal year, they're fine. But this is going to be a hard year for some of them. We've been trying to help them and counsel them through that, but it is a federal program, federally managed program, Department of Fisheries and Oceans. But so they have to. They've been dealing directly with them. We don't have a whole lot of say in it, but I just want to say we do understand what some of them are going through for sure.
So how has the municipality, I mean, we've spoken about this in the past, but what is the municipality doing to support them?
Well, we actually, go ahead.
Go ahead, guys.
Well, one of the things that's occurring is we do have our federal member of parliament, Mike Kellaway, does connect with the warden and myself on a weekly basis. We have a call later today. So we bring all the concerns the council is bringing to the table to those meetings. And the updates from our MP is usually that he's bringing those to the appropriate federal ministers and raising those concerns that we've been hearing from the community. So we're passing those on and making sure that our federal representative is fully aware of the concerns of the communities, and I think they're listening. They've made some changes. We're waiting to hear the announcement today and see what that may impact our fishing communities. So we'll just continue to listen to the communities and bring those concerns to the federal government.
I hope I can get my feed of lobster on the weekend, though.
I wanted to ask Councillor Alfred about the Cheticamp wastewater treatment plant. I saw on the agenda that there's been an update on that. Can you tell me more about it?
Yes, well, we, if you go back in 1998, right up to 2014, we always had a smell across the car wash, and that was a terrible smell. Then they put a plan in, they worked at the plant, and there was work done for about 750,000, which should have been $1 million, and then work should have been done down the Cape, you know, and into where the pipe is leaving the shore and going further down. So, and then when after storm and Dorian and everything, we could see, you know, like I had numerous calls, and especially businesses around the plant, and so what I did is brought it up to council, and they took it seriously and looked at it, and then the CAO and the staff and the proper personnel looked into it, and then we are looking at it, and hopefully we'll be able to go and move ahead with it if it's approved by council later on, and it would be a very, very good thing, especially for the residents first and foremost, because they live there and they have it year round, but at the same time for tourism businesses in general.
What's the plan? What's going to be done about it?
I think maybe Keith, you know, maybe would have more information. I'm not really an engineer, and I'll be honest with you. I know it's a pipe that's going down. It's going to cost around 180,000, and that's the basic I can give you. But maybe CAO could give you more information. I don't know.
Sure, Keith. We were talking about the Cheticamp wastewater treatment plant with a pipe. Do you have any updates on that?
Well, the treatment plant is, we have operators attending to that on an ongoing basis. We did have some storm damage and surge damage, or tidal surge damage to the outfall pipe that comes from that treatment facility. So right now, council is very supportive of us moving that project forward. We're just finalizing the costs to that and hope to get that underway as soon as the weather permits to repair that damaged pipe that leads out to the ocean, adjacent to the community of Cheticamp.
And what type of work is going to be done? Is the pipe being replaced?
Yeah, there'll be some replacement and repair to the existing pipe, as well as we'd be overlaying material, large rocks, in order to protect that pipe in the future. So we'll be looking to get that done as soon as possible. So council is supportive of that initiative, and we're just hoping to finalize that budget.
And so as soon as possible, would that be the summer, the spring?
The plan would be this early summer.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to ask about, there's a section in the agenda that says business arising. What is that?
Well, that's basically the council has provided the minutes of the previous meetings, and that gives them an opportunity to bring up any items that came out of that previous meeting, just to get an update or just for some further information. Sometimes, most of the times, council doesn't have any items, but from time to time they do want some clarity on some particular issues that are outlined in the or work that's being outlined in the minutes.
Okay, I wanted to ask why isn't the municipality uploading the council meetings that you're having via video conference?
Well, it's a combination of issues. Certainly what we've already talked about is our connectivity issues. Even for this meeting today, we've had some challenges. We have councillors throughout the municipality. So even just to get an online system working, getting them all set up at the all of the equipment that councillors use and getting them familiar with that takes some time. We've kind of worked out most of the bugs. We'd hope to have been able to broadcast or include people in the Zoom meetings by now, but we just haven't been able to get that functionality working. So we're making attempts again to have that option for the future. So we're working really hard as staff, and council understands the challenges around this. So we're doing our best to get the information out. The province of Nova Scotia, through the Department of Municipal Affairs and Housing, they've put out instructions that councils have to get their draft minutes out within 24 hours after a meeting. So that's posted to our website, and people can review that. So hopefully we'll get some new options for people to either witness the meetings live or have them taped, and then they can go online and check those out.
Right. The problem with the minutes is that they're kind of bullet points. There's not a lot of description. So people miss out on a lot. And these conversations, the council meetings, are still taking place, only mostly in private. So that's a bit of a problem. Couldn't you, for example, publish, even if not every councillor is able to connect due to technical issues, couldn't that be made public, the conversations that you're already having?
Well, those are the standard minutes that council's been putting together for quite some time. Other municipalities have struggled with this issue as well. Some have been able in more rural or some urban areas to come up with quicker solutions. So we'll be able to have means in place fairly soon. We'd already had hoped to do that. But once you try to test run some of the options, it just hasn't worked out. The first two attempts had to go with conference calls because we were not able to get everyone online, and now we're just getting that underway. So staff is now familiar with actually the platforms. Most of them have never used. I think none. I would say none of them have used these online systems before. So it does take. It's definitely a learning curve, but we're hoping to get that rectified very soon.
Any comments from the councillors? Laurie?
Yeah, just on that subject, early on, I suppose it must be close to a year ago now, we did videotape our meetings, and it was live. You could watch it live, and it would be on the internet, or would be on our website as well. But that's when we were all in one room. Right now, we're separated by our homes where we're working from. So that makes that technical part makes it a lot more difficult because we're all in different locations. But again, it comes back to, I think, some of the technology we're being provided by the province and the federal government in terms of, you know, connectivity. There's very little fiber that's hooked up to the home. And, you know, if we get there at some point, we should be able to easily do that when we have the bandwidth to be able to handle it. But when we were doing it before, I think we stopped it because we were looking at some new equipment, and maybe we were just taping it with a tablet. But the potential's there, and I think we'd all like to see that transparency. So there's a lot of seniors and people that can't get to a meeting would like to see something they're involved in to being discussed or whatever. And I think it's a great idea and great for all our communities. So it's just a matter of getting the bugs out of it, I think.
Right. Alfred?
Well, I think they said it all. I do agree with all, you know, that was said, and it's basically what's happening. And you know, I don't think I have any more information to bring into the table at this time.
Just another thing, if I could,
Right.
in the Lemoyne, Granite Tang areas through to Cheticamp, as anybody that lives in Cheticamp would be well aware of the sweat winds that happen. And especially this time of year when we get them with the big trucks loaded with lobster fish coming in empty to load up, they're almost a sail going down through the road, and a number of them have tipped, and it's a matter of time before someone's seriously injured. So I'm working with the communities there, trying to get Department of Transportation to at least do some signage or have some type of system when it's really bad. It might be only for an hour or two to have trucks pull off. It's mainly the high-sided vehicles, but I think that's something those communities from, say, St. Joseph, Lemoyne to Cheticamp are all concerned about. They don't want to see a fatality as a result. So, but Department of Transportation was looking at the signage that would be required and the standards around that. So, but they've been quite a while doing that. So it's a time I get on the phone with them and try to move that forward a little bit.
Would that be for speed?
No, it would be to, if it's really bad, to maybe even stop the vehicles in some way, or at least warn them that they're going into an area and have a flashing light when it's, I don't know, they're looking at the technology that would be easy to use there without using a lot of human resources that would warn, because a lot of these drivers, maybe for other communities, never experienced that. And they're coming into Cheticamp to load with an empty truck. And that empty truck is, like I said, a big sail going down the road. And if the wind catches it right, it's tipped many of them over. And all you need is a car land underneath one of those, and you've got some serious injuries probably. So we're trying to work. We've been looking at that for the last year, and nothing's happened. So I'm trying to get that moving forward again, just to, because this is the time of year when it can happen, and the trucks are on the road and slowed down a little this year with this. You know, the fisheries not knowing what's going on, but still, those trucks are hauling as we speak. So it's a way of slowing them down, and also maybe having them. Some of them may want to say, "Okay, I'm going to wait this out before I get into the wind area."
And when do you see that project being developed?
It's well, if you look
we've met with our what?
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Cranton. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've met with transportation, we've met with our CMP and some of the community people there and the fire department who are all concerned. It was left with the Department of Transportation to go back to their engineers and come back with a recommendation of how they would sign the highway through there. so at least people are properly warned, and maybe have a place where trucks get off the road. There hasn't been a big issue with cars, but even small vans, or even vans with the high sides on them, and smaller tube trucks and stuff, they've had their issues too. So I'm sure we've all experienced those winds down there. They're nothing to fool around with. So, but we have no date on it. They should have gotten back to us by now, and I talked to them a few months ago, and they were still waiting to the engineer to give them a report. But so I will be looking into that. Just like the residents to know that I haven't simply forgotten about it. It needs to happen.
Alfred, were you going to say something about it?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, you know, it's all up in the works and talk about it. And, you know, all these infrastructure and all changes and, you know, we don't have control over it. You know, in order for us to do it, we need the provincial and the federal government. And, you know, it's a long process that has to be done in order to get things done. You know, for example, when do you think it will be done? I can say, well, they'll give me a 1 month, but it might be 6, 7, or 8 months. And like Councillor Cranton said, they might, you know, if you don't ask them again, it might never be done. So it's a slow process. But it is definitely a plan that would be beneficial to is District 2 in Granite Tanks, including the one, and in the Cheticamp area too. You know?
You can write to us at chne.television@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.